For Phantom Blade Zero, the team at S-Game is clearly pulling out all the stops in order to bring its bold and exciting vision for Kung Fu Punk to life. By drafting an action movie megastar and martial arts master Donnie Yen to serve as co-producer on its wuxia-inspired action RPG, the Chinese developer is ensuring that every kick, punch, and scintillating sword slice is delivered with the utmost authenticity and heart-stopping intensity. Midway through Phantom Blade Zero's development, I was fortunate enough to be invited over to S-Game's Shanghai studio to get an insight into its groundbreaking approach to Kung Fu motion capture, and to speak with both creative director Solframe Liang and Donnie Yen himself. It was genuinely spectacular to see Donnie's team in action, pulling off a breathtaking series of dazzling wirework stunts and daring martial arts moves, but it wasn't until I saw a stunt performer juggling a baby on the blade of his sword before launching it into the air that I knew I was witnessing something truly crazy and totally creative. As it turns out, Donnie Yen wasn't just playing a vital role in the creation of Phantom Blade Zero, he was helping to usher in an exciting new way of mocapping action in games. This is how. Whether you know him from his Hong Kong cinema hits like the Ip Man series, or his scene-stealing performances in Hollywood blockbusters such as Star Wars Rogue One or John Wick 4, Donnie Yen has a proven track record for dazzling audiences with supremely creative choreography and a consistently charismatic performance style. But surprisingly, this is only the second time that Donnie has dipped his kung fu kicking toes into the world of video games, having previously choreographed most of the action cutscenes for Capcom's Onimusha 3 Demon Siege back in 2004. I asked Donnie why he wanted to be a part of Phantom Blade Zero, having not played an active role in the gaming world since the PlayStation 2 era.
I'm always aware of what's going on out there. I'm trying to learn this as well, as a filmmaker, I'm constantly trying to grow, so this is something that I'm always curious and interested in, of the level of the gaming, especially a game like this, so advanced. And, I see a film and as well as a game share similarity, storytelling, entertainment, action, adventures, histories, right? So, when I was invited by S, I was really excited.
Soulframe, or S, shares Donnie's excitement. Donnie is a hero to many at S-Game, and S describes collaborating with him as a childhood dream come true, but is quick to emphasize that the partnership with the film star goes far beyond simply slapping his name on the Phantom Blade Zero game box in order to sell a few extra copies.
We're really honored to have Donnie on board. And of course, at the very beginning, as all other studios, gaming studios, they usually do is have some superstars for only endorsement, only some branding or marketing images. But what we're doing now is way deeper than that. I think what you have already seen is Donnie are playing one of our characters, a master character, but more deeply, Donnie also give us the direction and the style of the overall Kung Fu styles and everything. So I think this is so great because what we're trying to do is to catch the authenticity of the Chinese Kung Fu. Everything inspired us from the golden age Chinese Kung Fu movies and everything, because we grew up with all these movies and we actually know every frames and every minutes of Donnie's classic movies. And so now we have the chance to bring that into our game, and we together to promote or make the Kung Fu culture even more popular to the newer generations all around the world.
Kung Fu culture, with or without realizing, right, has influenced almost every aspect in terms of visualizations, right? Films, TVs, gaming, action movies, any type of actions, vehicles, right? Visually, right? Probably involved one way or the other, derived from martial arts or Kung Fu in that respect, right? So this is something that we, in this game, the Phantom Blade, is focusing even more so to really highlight some of the the tradition, the culture, the heritage, the details of Chinese Kung Fu, which is one of Chinese ancient, precious heritage, right? So that's pretty cool. That's very cool.
As S alluded to, Donnie hasn't just been brought onto Phantom Blade Zero to help choreograph its action set pieces and allow the team at S Game to draw on his decades of martial arts expertise to help sculpt its vision for the game. He also appears in multiple flashback sequences as the father of the main character, Soul. In the scene I watched them capture during my visit, Donnie's father character is forced to fend off attackers and guide the infant Soul to safety. According to S, there's some clear parallels between Donnie's role in the game and his involvement behind the scenes.
This is a great character, and it's an iconic character in our game. This is a master and also our hero's father, but they split when the hero was super young, it's like a baby. So it's a very important scene. But also, I think it's a great metaphor to the reality, because inside the game is a father, a master protecting the baby, and he kind of transfer all the skills to the baby when he grew up. So in reality, we're also doing kind of like this heritage, because we, as I said before, we grew up with Donnie's all these classic movies and all these movements and everything. And we're now trying to transfer all this excitement from those kung fu and action scenes into a new medias, and we all create a great heritage of Chinese kung fu and transfer the cultures, and the culture will grow in this trend. And so I think it's a great metaphor.
Initially, the scene in question was planned to be a bit more straightforward. The infant Soul was supposed to remain secured within the relative safety of the pouch strapped to his father's back during the fight, but Donnie felt that it just wasn't exciting enough. This is a man who's previously delighted movie audiences with a glass-smashing showdown against Mike Tyson in Ip Man 3 and a motion-tracking takedown of thugs in John Wick 4, so he's made a habit of choreographing fight scenes that twist and turn in surprising directions. Thus, the decision was made to place the baby Soul in proper peril, which brings us back to the airborne newborn being caught and balanced on the blade of his father's sword in a truly edge-of-your-seat sequence.
What I would like to do when I look at a piece like that, I look beyond of the excitement. The excitement is given, I know it's there already, but how can I, push that into another level? Right? So I looked at it and say, how do you make it even more thrilling and more emotionally engaged, right? So that's something that I do the course of many years of making films. I do have that kind of intuitions. When I look at a piece, I understand what it takes to elevate that, right? So I thought putting that elements in there would be a very personal and very sentimental as well as emotional.
And also, it allows you to have fight sequences where a baby gets balanced on a sword and things like that.
Yeah, of course, because the way my mind works, I'm always think like a filmmaker. It's not just, I try to kill many birds with one stone.
Right.
So I try to, as well, enhancing the story, but at the same time, it allows the choreographer to expand their choreography, to make it more fun. Because at the end of the day, it's a game, you want to have more fun, right?
Of course, bringing in Donnie Yen to collaborate on your game doesn't just gain you the expertise of one man. Accompanying Donnie into the mocap studio were his most trusted squad of stunt performers and martial arts proteges, including Hua Yan, who served as the stunt team lead and lead action choreographer on Phantom Blade Zero. Hua Yan and Donnie go way back. In fact, here they are going toe-to-toe in Special ID back in 2013. Trust me, they get along much better in real life. The benefits of Donnie's team's shared history were very much on display in Phantom Blade Zero's mocap process, as the performers were able to work together like an extremely well-trained martial arts machine. It was incredible to watch Donnie and his team analyze first takes of each shot, quickly brainstorm new ways to improve them, and then put them into action on the fly with maximum ferocity and flair. According to Donnie, thinking on his feet as well as fighting with his feet is how he always likes to approach his work.
Yes, I always work that way. I always have this, I have an idea, and usually this idea already have imagery is in my head, and they are already in the process of editing. That's how my brain works, right? I could walk in a set and I will look at the room and I can put all the shots together and then form these numerous of shots together, and then ultimately becomes a running film, a running movie, a story. That's how my brain works. So throughout these years, I share my understanding and I develop certain theories, and I pass that to my so-called my proteges, and my students, and here they are, and I call on them, and we have this mutual language that we do. So we know, we can synchronize this automatically and immediately.
All of the motion capture I witnessed was performed at the full intensity of the in-game action, and this was very much intentional in order to avoid the post-production speed adjustments typical to other motion capture processes that can often make the finished product seem artificial. As S explains, his team has developed a method for motion capture that's flexible enough to stay in step with the rapid pace at which Donnie and his team operates, a system that he hopes will make developing action games far more efficient in the future.
I think we're going to expand this to a whole system of making games, because gaming even needs this more. Because for making games, most of the other studios or big companies always make like step by step. You spend like 2 years to do this pre-productions with all the concept art and documents ready, and you produce according exactly to what was written in the documents, and you spend another 3 years to produce. So that's the normal way for so-called AAA industry. But working with Donnie make us quite confident of our original way of working, especially doing something so creative, because we are trying to build a whole new system for modern action game. If we just trying to fit all these kung fu movements to the existing action system, it doesn't work. So we have to come back to the starting point, or we have to build everything from ground up. So this will need very heavily depend on what happens on site. Let's say if we are doing a combo with like 4 hits or 5 hits, and the boss will have some sort of special mechanics to react to your combo. And if you are doing it like a traditional way, you can catch the essence of the movement, especially like Donnie's movement or Donnie's style, because there's no such game in history showing that for us as reference. So if we don't have the reference, we cannot do it like the old way. We have to do it in a very special way and very unique way and dynamic. So exactly like Donnie was saying, what he has done in movie industry, like for all those classic movies, we're trying to do the same thing in gaming industry.
It's just one of the many ways that S-Game is innovating with Phantom Blade Zero, and it's a process that both S and Donnie are relishing, even if building an action game with such bold ambitions does make for a challenge.
Well, challenge is a good thing. That's what we live for. So for me, it is very motivating. I like to create things. I like to do something refreshing, and it's a satisfaction that you get from being able to elevate, right? In all things, right? In life, right? Now in game, right? So for me, it's challenging, but at the same time, for me, it's not really, in a good way, it's not stressful.
What we're trying to do is to approach something we've never seen, and we want to catch as much as possible the essence of the kung fu's, and also want to present as much as possible of our cultures to the world. So we'll just continue to working hard and to deliver something you've never seen before, and we won't fail you.
This is certainly one of the best quality games ever, right? So, and the kind of level they're pushing for, I have faith that it's going to lead the industry. I think the player will be really surprised and thrilled to be able to firsthand to play this game. So I can't wait.
Donnie can't wait, and the good news is that if you've been anticipating the release of Phantom Blade Zero, you don't have to wait long either. Phantom Blade Zero, co-produced by the legendary Donnie Yen, is set to arrive on PlayStation 5 and PC on October 29th. You can expect plenty more of Phantom Blade Zero on IGN in the lead up to launch, but for now be sure to check out the brand new trailer, along with our detailed hands-on impressions. For everything else, stick with IGN.